To succeed your mission, you must have single-minded devotion in your goal. The pandemic is leading us all to reflect on how we do things and how we plan for longer-term activities to conduct qualitative webinar. In this valuable occasion, I would like to share about the glory of our college. Idaya College for Women is one of the prestigious institutions affiliated to Bharathasan University, Tiruchirappalli, run by Franciscan Sisters of Immaculate Heart of Mary congregation. The congregation, with a history of 175 years in the educational sector, inaugurated the college in Jubilee year 2000 with the motto Strive to Shine. The college pursues 10 undergraduates, 8 postgraduates, 7 MPhil and PhD research studies respectively. I would like to share our department. The Department of Computer Application and IKAC strives hard to provide highly accessed platform to the students in order to face with confident challenges of this dynamic technological world. To achieve this goal, we have a team of faculty with good academic excellence. I would like to share our webinar. The webinar on tips and tricks for effect research is organized by Department of Computer Application and IKAC. The basic intention of webinar aims to help the research faculties and research scholars to focus on the advances in exploration of research. I would like to share our chief guest Dr. A. Martin is an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science, Central University, Thiruvarur. He has more than 15 years of teaching and research experience, mentoring scholars in data analytics, software computing and computer vision. He has received many awards and recognition for his research work, teaching and training. He has received a faculty mentor certification from IBM. I would like to invite our principal, Reverend Sister Dr. Eugene Amala, to deliver her message.
Dear viewers, nice to meet you all through this YouTube streaming. It's my immense pleasure to inform you that our institution, Idaya College for Women, Kumbakonam, is organizing webinar through this YouTube streaming. Small steps in the right direction can bring about big changes in your life. You cannot go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. Martin Luther King quotes, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" The purpose of your education becomes fulfilled only when you make yourself instrumental in serving your fellow brethren. So lead from the heart, not the head. As the professors and research scholars learn the tips and tricks for effective research scholars, let you expand your research skill, and professors, widen your knowledge and enkindle the spirit of your words. This YouTube streaming aims to bring different ideologies under one roof and provide opportunity to deepen your research fortitude. So equip yourself with all possible skills. It's not that you be the best, it's that you try your best. Have an educative session and a blessed day to all of you.
Welcome to this webinar, Tips and Tricks for Effective Research. I am Dr. A. Martin, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science, Central University of Tamil Nadu, Thiruvarur, Tamil Nadu. The topic of this webinar is Tips and Tricks for Effective Research. Research is the thing which is carried out every time. Now, in the mid of COVID 2009 also, there are different kind of researches going on all over the world. In particular, if you take computer science, in the field of computer science, we have come across different kind of technologies: artificial intelligence, machine learning, image processing, big data analytics, and blockchain. So many techniques are available. Still, we are applying almost the researchers all over the world and India trying to apply these fields into the COVID to find the solutions to different problems. For example, Using artificial intelligence, one can develop a recommendation system. So once a COVID patient is admitted to the hospital, the doctor may get the recommendation from the AI, that is, based on the past history of the patient, based on the different treatment and history of various patients, COVID patients particularly. The AI may provide recommendations whether the patient is a normal treatment is enough for him, or some middle level of treatment is required, or critical level of treatment is required. The next 5 days, what kind of status the patient will reach. These kind of recommendations the AI may provide. Like this, other techniques can be applied. So every day, lot of data being generated for this COVID 2019. So using your big data, this data can be analyzed, different kind of information, different kind of strategies can be performed. Not only COVID 2019, the research is all over the time it is carried out. Just think of it. You have the mobile app. Where is my train? It says where the train is now. From my place, I can know all over the India, whatever the train, where it is now, what time it reaches. Every information you can identify. And if you take robotics, humanoid is there. Nowadays, robotic surgery is performed. Robotic hand is applied to perform the surgeries. Just think of it, how precisely these systems have been designed. So they are designed very precisely. Even small mistake may lead to huge loss for a human. So that means the research is carried out all over the world at all the time. So when you want to do the effective research, what are the things, what are the tips, what are tricks, you must know it. So this is the objective of this webinar. Let us see the different topics we are going to discuss. These topics are indicates the different phases of your research. Identification of research area, literature survey, problem definition, algorithm design or model, experimentation, results and discussion, conclusion, references. All these things are different phases of your research. We are going to discuss one by one. At the same time, in each phase, how to carry out the particular thing very effectively. So that's the thing we are going to discuss. I just want to define the term research. It is known by everyone. Very simple way you can say it, finding answers to questions. That is the meaning of research. But what way? In an organized and a systematic way. Okay, first, what is meant by finding answers to questions? One can say like this. Now, so many COVID 2019 patients are there, that is coronavirus infected patients are there. The doctors are taking lot of scan reports are available, lot of images are generated. When you are going to use these images using image processing and machine learning, you will come across different kind of patterns. So I can frame one question like this, whether machine learning and image processing can be applied to corona infected virus patients so that a new kind of patterns can be identified for the further treatment. Whether artificial intelligence can be applied to coronavirus infected patients to identify any kind of recommendation systems. That's the thing. Whether this particular thing is possible. But the thing is that when you are going to raise the question, there is some certain procedure you have to follow. That's why the research is said as research is an organized and a systematic way of finding answers to questions. What is my organized and systematic? It is a set of procedure steps which you have to follow. It is a planned procedure. It's not a spontaneous one. And also when you are going to do the work should be a very specific, limited, need not be very broader area. I cannot say I am going to apply different techniques in computer science for the COVID. I may say like this, the machine learning, a particular technique, I am going to apply COVID data, I am going to identify this kind of thing. So what you are going to do, that should be a specific. To do that, to get the specific one, you must have a definite set of procedure and steps. Then finding answers means what? Answers to hypothesis, even a simple question. At the end of the research, you may get a successful answer, or sometimes you may not arrive at a good answer. But it is not mean the failure of the research. It says that this is the way you should not conduct the research, or this is the way if you go, you will not find the answer. So the next one is questions. So these are the central of research. Without question, research has no focus. So using the organized systematic way, you have to identify the questions, then you have to find the answers. I may say like this, research is a journey in the discovery of or enhancement of knowledge to identify problems and provide solutions to the identified problems. So based on the knowledge which you received through some procedure, some paper, some webinars, through that knowledge, you have to identify the problem and you have to provide the solution. So that is the simple meaning of the research. The next one is the different steps involved in a research. When you're saying the research, okay, some systematic way. So first thing is what? You have to identify the research area. There are so many areas are available. Then we have to conduct the literature survey. From the literature survey, you have to identify some findings. From the survey, what are the findings you had it? Based on that, you have to define the problem. Then for the problem, you propose a solution. It may be an algorithm, it may be a model, it may be an architecture. Then you have to conduct the experimentation. Then for that experimentation, what's the result you obtain? Simply getting results, it's not a research. Why that results are arrived? Why there is an improvement in performance? Why there is a decrease in efficiency? You have to justify the answer. You should intercept the results. So that is the objective of the result in discussion. Then before concluding, you have to say what are the future scope available for this particular research. Then what are the things you refer, that you go to the references. So these are the different steps involved in the research. We are going to discuss each step by each step. At the same time, I will be introducing the tips and tricks in each of the phase. The first step is identification of research area. This is very important. Okay. Identification of research area means what? In a computer science, you have lot of broader areas are available. Among the broader area, based on our interest or based on the different studies you made, you identify one research area. I can say, see here, data analytics, business intelligence, web semantics, short computing techniques, artificial intelligence, so many areas are available. Then again, a broader classification of computer science area. See here, not only computer science, pure computer science, it is applied on different areas, information security and applications, entertainment computing, expert systems with applications, computer communications, Hadoop networks, big data research. So the area can be broadened. Okay. So among this area, you have to identify one particular area. Here I am going to say some of the research areas. Just a small exposure I am going to give it. Just think about soft computing. So computing, we know it. You are going to compute something. What is soft computing? Very soft in character. Sometimes you'll be saying it's very soft character. Like this in computing also, you may have the soft computing. Yeah, obviously. What this means, soft computing? We may say is soft computing is the use of inexact solutions to computationally hard tasks. For example, you want to cross a road in a busy morning time. What you'll do? You'll start in the road. You'll be having the speedometer. You'll be watching what is the speed of each vehicle. Certainly, it is not possible. What you'll be doing? You are keep on just approximately you are evaluating. Yeah, this bus is coming fast. I should not go. Yeah, this bus is coming a little bit slower only. I can go run faster. So you are doing a approximation calculation. Then you are crossing the road successfully. You are identified the solution. This kind of problems can be solved through the soft computing. Suppose you may expect today rain because of it's cloudy. But exactly at what time the rain will start? That is not, if you are going to be able to say that is the exact solution. But you are not say, certainty is not, uncertainty is there here. This is possibility of rain. Sometimes the rain may not come. So where there is a imprecision, uncertainty, in those areas, soft computing can be applied. The role model for soft computing is the human mind. So most of things we are judging through our approximation. For example, in a class you are 60 students are there. If you ask all the 60 students to write the number 7, what way they will write? All the 7 will be identically similar? Certainly not possible. All will be writing in a different styles. But still your system able to identify this is a 7. Even based on the approximation, that's still the technique, the soft computing technique able to identify this is number 7. So that is a unique property of soft computing. If you take the soft computing, there are so many techniques are available. Evolutionary computation, fuzzy computing, neurocomputing, machine learning. Just you take evolutionary computation. Evolutionary computation means what? Evolutionary computation? See here, computational systems which drawing their inspiration from the nature. From the nature, you are developing the computational system, the logic which you identified from the nature. From that, you are developing the computational system to solve the problem. So that is called as here evolutionary computation. The evolutionary computation, okay. So in technical terms, they are family of population-based trial and error problem solvers with a meta-heuristic. Okay. Trial and error, meta-heuristic. What is this one? Suppose you are in a room. Certainly power cut was happened. You don't have a mobile phone. It is in the night time. How do you come out of this room? What is the solution? Immediate solution. So you will be trying to identify some object. By keeping your hand in the object, you will be trying to move from step by step. Then you will come out of the room. Suppose you want to cross the railway track. It's a very mist zone. Dense mist is there. How do you come across? Okay. Even you don't have complete knowledge, but still you are able to identify a solution. So meta-heuristic is a higher level procedure or heuristic designed to select a heuristic that may provide a sufficiently good solution. That may be an optimal solution. So that is a limited computing capacity, imperfect information. Okay, where there's a incomplete information available, still you are able to identify a solution. So that is called as a meta-heuristic. So the evolutionary computation works based on population-based trial and error methods, and you will be using the meta-heuristic. Okay, so what's the general procedure of evolutionary computation? So there are 4 things are there: random selection, initial solution, fitness, and reproduction. What is random selection? Suppose 10,000 candidates have registered. You want to identify only 10 candidates. What's the meaning? So now you are saying whoever candidate who scored more than 80% of the marks are eligible for this placement. So randomly you are setting you are collecting 10,000 candidates based on the condition. What's the initial solution you are having? You are having 10,000 solution. Now we are making a fitness. What's the fitness? These 10,000 candidates should go for a written test. Now, based on the written test, whoever scored more than 90% of marks, they will be taken as a next set of solution. Okay, that is called as reproduction. Now, out of 10,000, I am having 5,000 candidates. I don't know out of the 5,000 who is the best one, who is the least one. I don't know who is the slow learner. I don't know, but I am having 5,000 random solutions. Then from the 5,000 random solution I am taking as a initial solution. Now I am having a fitness. What fitness? We will go for group discussion. So that's the condition you are making. From the group discussion, now we are going to put another set of candidates. Out of 5,000, now we are giving 2,000 candidates. So this is the way the evolutionary computation works. Each time, each evolution, each iteration, you are getting a better solution compared to previous one. So this is the way evolutionary computation works. Just I'm giving a overview, just because the first phase is what? Identification of research area. So certain area you can identify. So you have the swarm intelligence. It's a very interesting one, swarm intelligence. Most of the times you may come across the crowd, any temple, church, or any kind of bigger functions, you can see a huge people. But in the huge people, in the huge crowd, even the image which is shown here, after the car is moving, the car procession is moving, then huge crowd will, the people start to move from one place to another place. I have personally had experience with this crowd. Among this crowd, there is one line will be formed automatically. No police will be there. No volunteer will be there. Automatically, the line is formed. In the line, both people move in direction, people come in direction. And while people are moving, somebody says that, go, 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 go. You please stop like this automatically. But these people start to move. Okay, so that is this kind of things. That is achieving a collective performance which could not normally be achieved by individual acting alone. It is not done with one individual, but it's a collective performance. That is no leader, but automatically it will be happening. So that is the meaning of swarm intelligence. So you may apply swarm intelligence those kind of problems where there is a huge crowd, collective varied environment without any external guidance, but system capable of accomplishing difficult tasks in dynamic and control and with no central coordination. For this kind of problems, you may go for the swarm intelligence. Like this, you have particle swarm optimization. Okay, what is a particle? Portion of matter, that is small items. Swarm, a large optimization, best or most effective. Okay, if you see the bee or if you see the birds are moving from one place to another place. When the single bird moves, when the group of birds moves in the same, then the V shape, there is a huge difference. The distance which is taken by the single bird is much lesser when compared to the group of birds moving in the V shape. And also in the V shape, there is no leader. The bird which is leading the team, after a certain time, it will be moving to the last. Then person in the last, the bird is in the last, will come to the front. Okay, that's why the bird flocking is happening. Then fish schooling. Fishes moving from one direction to another direction, same kind of size of fishes, similar kind of fishes, how they are moving. Then ant, how the ants are moving one place to another place. They have the special kind of chemical substance called as pheromone. When they are moving from one place to another, they will be leaving this pheromone. But characters of pheromone, it starts to evaporate. You may come across in your homes and all, the house and all. If you keep some laddu or some sugar over there, the ant will come automatically, but it will be coming in a line. How it identifies? See this diagram. See this diagram. Okay, so next is the food is there. Initially, it will be randomly moving. The ants are moving, but after certain times, the ants are moving in a single direction. How it is possible? Where more ants are moving, there the pheromone evaporation will be there. The order also will be there more. All the ants are attracted toward that evaporation. They'll be moving towards that one. Then finally, they'll identify optimal solution. So in the technique called as particle swarm optimization, we have this kind of birds flocking, fish schooling, ant colony. All these things are available to solve the problems. So this is a one kind of area. Salt computing is a one major area. Then we have so many areas. Data analytics. Data analytics. Okay, it's a very boom area. So a lot of nowadays huge data is generated because of the social media. Okay, how to process this data, how to organize this data, how to do the computation. So a lot of tools are available, a lot of techniques are, a lot of algorithms are available. So you may do a research on this area. So you can go for any of the science director, IEEE or a standard publishers. You can find so many kind of papers. Then another one area is Internet of Things. So the next thing going to happen, already it is started to come across, that is all the devices, all the objects are connecting and exchanging the information to execute the things efficiently. So that is another area, IoT. So there are also a lot of research opportunities are available. It is applied in different environment. Agriculture is applied, disaster it is applied, so many things it is applied. So you can say refer the Science Direct or any journals, you may come across the latest things happening in the IoT. Then blockchain, another one area. So it will transfer the information very securely. It is works based on the growing list of records. It is called as blocks, which are linked and secured using cryptography. So another one area is research area is blockchain, distributed ledger. So many things are available. Then another area, computer fraud and security. Very essential area. Every day, every time we are coming across different kind of fraudulent activities. So because today we are doing almost everything through online. So how the data should be transferred securely, how to maintain the confidentiality. So this is another one good area to do the research. Then web semantics. Okay, while you start to search in the Google, by typing 2 to 3 words, 2 to 3 letters itself, the Google try to say these are the possible things. So web semantics, the another one area. Then we have pervasive computing, ubiquitous computing, which is related to IoT. The next one is information management. Because of this social media, we have huge information is generated. We already said about data analytics is there. And then another one is we have another area called as information management, where you can manage the information, how to extract the information, how to extract the knowledge. So that is another one area. Like this, in the computer science, so many research area is available. So what's the thing you have to do? You have to identify an area. Sometimes you may discuss with your supervisor or with your guide. You may discuss the area, or you may, based on your interest, you may select one research area. So it is up to the individual and the supervisor. Based on the exposure, you may select any area. Next one is literature survey. So this is the second phase. So very important. So literature means referring lot of books, lot of journals. how to refer it, how to critically analyze the information. So that is the trick of the literature survey. We'll see it. First, what do you mean by literature review? A literature review discuss published information in a particular subject area and sometimes information in a particular subject area within a certain period of time. Suppose I may say in the blockchain, the last 3 years, what are the different research work is carried out to mine the distributed ledger? Just carry out. In the data analytics, what are the area it is applied? In what way applied? What is the outcome of this research? If you do the research, what will happen? It will say both what's the strength, what's the weakness, and also this analysis will give, you can gain a critical understanding of your field. That is the benefit of the literature survey. So opportunity to think about similarities, patterns, trends, and also differences across the existing research. Okay, so that's the way you have to carry out the literature review. In the literature review, when you want to conduct the literature review, what you have to do? Okay, you have to search original research papers and review paper from reputed journals. Okay, what are the journals? So some examples are given: IEEE Transactions, Elsewhere, Springer, Taylor and Francis, Wiley Online, Science Direct. From these publishers, you can identify the research area. From the research area, you can identify the research work. Now, next thing is, many people started downloading the paper. The thing is that how to read the paper. Okay, so here I have some tips to read the paper. So scientific papers are the heart of the science community. So it is essentially to learn how to read paper quickly but insignificantly. Otherwise, you will start to slip. Brian, no, on holiday, hope coming soon. No, but there is a way to read the paper. I will say it. First one is, we have two kinds of scientific papers. One is review articles, another one is primary research articles. What's the review articles? So review articles, it provides a comprehensive summary of research on a certain topic and a perspective on the state of the field and where it is heading. So the last 5 years in the image processing, what are the different works happened? That will be available as a review paper. Download the review paper, go through it. You will have a better understanding of your area. So review papers will give you a comprehensive summary. Comprehensive means what? You have complete, but you should not stick with the one review paper. Go and refer commonly available review papers, which will help you to understand your area very broadly and specifically. The next category is primary research articles. Okay, so original research. Some paper offers new ideas, or sometimes they may propose the advancement of methodologies or method. So bring previous ideas together and ignite them under a novel framework. So one or two methodologies may be combined. The limitations may be overcome. Based on that, they may propose a new advanced technique. Okay, so these are the primary research articles. First one is review article, another one is called as a primary research articles. And sometimes you will get a short reports, letters, even sometimes case studies. Okay, suppose now the coronavirus affected patients are there. Okay, you may have different kind of case studies. How this particular patient recovered, what are the treatments are given, what are the medicines were given. This medicine is good, this is not suitable, it may give side effect. Okay, case studies. So that's also another kind of primary research articles. So easy ways to distinguish between review and primary. It is very easy. Okay, so the review paper means in the heading itself we may come across a review on this one, or if you study the abstract or if you study the keyword, surely you will come across the word review. Otherwise, you can come across the primary research article. But what's the important thing is means you must have the capability to learn to do the research. Whether it's a research article or it may be a review article, how to understand this paper. So it may require going over the paper several times and the expert to spend several hours to read a paper. Just reading one time, two times, no. You have to spend much time. Then you can able to understand the paper. But how to read the research paper? First thing is that read critically. You must have the capability of learn to think critically about quality of research papers. Okay, what means that one? Read critically. Okay, there are some points are here. Critical reading involves asking appropriate questions. Okay, fine. First question I am saying that is, if the authors attempt to solve a problem, are they solving the right problem? Whether this author is solving the right problem. Author may propose some solution, but you ask critically, is there any simple solution or better solution is available compared to the solution which is provided by the author? Then what are the limitations of this solution? So this is the way you are critically evaluating the paper. Then are the assumptions the author make reasonable? That's also one thing. Is the logic of the paper clear and justifiable? Would other data be more compelling? If the authors present data, did they gather the right data to substantiate their argument? Whether the author have taken the right data? So this is the way reading the paper critically. Then there is another way called as read creatively. Suppose your mother is preparing some food. You may critically evaluate the paper or creatively evaluate the paper. Sorry, evaluate the food. Your wife is preparing the food. You will evaluate this food creatively or critically. You think it. So creatively means, okay, reading creatively involves harder, more positive thinking. What are the good ideas in this paper? Okay, in this food, what are the good? Wow, sambar, very nice sambar. This kind of vegetables I never seen. Super. This is taking creatively, critically. Whether it's a sambar is having this kind of color, you are saying some other color, which ingredient is missing. Okay, so there is a difference between reading the article critically, reading the article creatively. Can they be generalized further? Whether this idea which is proposed by author can be generalized further? If you are going to start doing research from this paper, what would be the next thing you would do? If you start to do the research based on this paper, what will be the next thing? So when you are going to read the paper, you must have the habit of reading the paper creatively as well as the critically. It will show the weakness and strengths of the paper, ultimately which will make you to identify the limitations and further research scope. So a summary is a recap of the information. Recap of the important information of the source, but the synthesis is a reorganization, reshuffling of that information. So whether your literature is just gives summary or it gives synthesis. So just you think about it. Now we'll show an example. You can be able to understand. Just I am going to show a research walkthrough in the business intelligence. Just an example, from the 2008 to 2016, there are many articles published related to business intelligence. Now I want to do a read the papers. So how to get the information, how to get the findings for that one. First, what I did, just segregate the papers. It is my idea. Just from 2008 to 2010, the papers, most of the BI papers, looks on application development. From 2010 to 2012, they are trying to integrate BI with other techniques. Then 2013, some work, 14, some work, 15, some work. So like this, I try to make a research walkthrough on BI. Then how to understand the different works in the BI? For that, I made a one proposing four parameters, a common parameters. What's the work? What's the problem they identified? What are the solution they applied? What's the result? Similarly, you can also do this kind of thing. For example, see here, I have gathered the paper like this. Whatever the paper, business applications, the problem they have identified, the solution they provide, results they offer. Similarly, other things. Then business intelligence with the intelligent techniques, information extraction. Like this, I am trying to group the work, and in each of the group of the paper, I am trying to identify the problem, solutions, and what's the result. From that one, I made a ongoing research contributions in business intelligence. So just I made a graph. So applications 49%, integration 9%. Like this, you can start to read the paper creatively, critically, and you can come to a decisions, come to limitations, come to strength, come to identify the weakness, and also what kind of solutions the BI provides. So when you start to read the papers, you come across, I identified it is provides algorithm based solutions, architecture based solution, model based solutions. So this is the way you have to carry out the research. I'm coming back to my original thing. So the literature survey at the end, you must have the summary as well as synthesis of the information, but synthesis of information is very, very important. Then while doing this literature survey, nowadays a lot of tools are available called as reference managers. What's the use of these tools? You may come across different kind of papers, different kind of websites, different kind of white papers you'll come across. How do you manage these things? When you are going to write a literature survey, from where you taken the points? Now plagiarism is very, very important. So for those things, you must use the reference managers, which will help you the different references, different articles you visited, all these things can be referred. For this one, we have a lot of tools are available. Some of the open source tools, Bibliotex, EndNote, Mendeley, RefWorks, Zotero. Mendeley, I have worked. It's a very good one. When you are going to make a paper or thesis or any report, very, very, your reference work will be much simplified using the Mendeley. It's just you download and add this plugin to your Chrome or whatever the browser you're using, and then the Microsoft Word, you can add the references. So very much useful. It will simplify your reference work. So that's the second part of your research, that is literature survey. Okay. So you have to must have the habit of identifying the paper from standard journals. Then you must know the how to read the paper. So then you have to maintain the references to this paper. So these are things you have to maintain to conduct the effective literature survey. So critical evaluation is very, very important thing. So critical thinking. So if it is master level, demonstrating that you understand how knowledge is created, how some knowledge is created in the master level. If it is PhD level, demonstrating that you can create a new original knowledge. That's very important. New and should be a original knowledge. Then if you're professional academic, peer review, building a coherent body of work of your own and assuring others work. So this is the way, the end of the literature, this is the thing you have to arrive. Then third step of the literature, third step of your effective research is problem definition. So what exactly is the problem we are aiming to solve? You must define the problem clearly. That is the thing is required in the problem definition. When you want make problem definition, there are certain things you have to follow. So first thing is background, motivation, research questions with the hypothesis, research statement, research approach. There are 5 things, tricks you must keep in your mind. What is this background? First one is overall summary or synthesis of a literature, existing work on related study. That is called as background. Background means what are things you studied? What is the existing work is available? That is background. Second one is motivation. From the background study, what are things motivated me to carry out this research, to carry out this particular problem? So that's the thing. First one is identify the things which motivated. Then you have to describe what way it is motivated. Then you list the motivated factors. So once you are get clear on background and motivation, ultimately you will get the research questions. From the background you identified certain things. Then which thing you motivated? I can say that there is no comprehensive solution available for this problem. People have worked quantitatively or people are worked qualitatively. I want to make a comprehensive, so I want to combine both things. Yeah, fine. That's the one research. Whether it is possible to provide a comprehensive solution using business intelligence for a particular finance related problem or bankruptcy prediction, I can say that is the research question. That's the research question. That is that the problem definition. First step is background. Second is motivation. Third is identifying the research question, developing research questions. Then you frame a research statement. Based on the research questions, you can frame a research statement. So once the research statement is formed, then you can say what's the approach I am going to propose a solution for this one. What's the technique? You can provide a brief information about the technique. I'll show you example. You can able to better understand this one. I told previously we are providing 3 kind of solutions. At the end of the literature, I had primary findings, secondary findings. The primary findings I am saying, just for your understanding, business integrates different kind of techniques. Business offers different solutions. There exists no comprehensive model or techniques. Then along with the primary findings, I have identified some secondary finding. What is that one? Limited contribution in bankruptcy prediction using non-financial variables. So when you are doing literature survey, there should be a classification: primary findings, secondary findings. Primary findings main objective, secondary findings in related to main objective, other things. So that is the thing should happen after conducting a successful literature survey. Now see here, problem statement. So I told while defining the problem, you must have the background, you must have the motivation factors. From the motivation factor, you have to frame the research questions. These research questions give you a problem statement. Here I have my problem statement. To design a reference model for business intelligence to predict bankruptcy. A comprehensive model. You may name it. I taken the characters from the I made a RM step. Then in the problem definition, once you formulated the problem statement should be very, very specific and should be very clear. The next thing is research approach. What approach you are going to apply to propose the solution for the quoted problem statement. See here, for our example, in order to carry out the research work, the requirements has been analyzed based on the functional requirements of business engine system. I'm just saying what is reference model. I'm saying I'm going to apply the unit operations. Then what are things I can achieve? So that should be the research approach. Research nothing. So what you are going to propose, what the technique you are going to apply to propose a solution. So that's the thing. So I will once again say that the problem definition, you start with background, motivation, research questions, research statement. If you are clear, if you are trying to answer these 5 topics, 5 questions, I am sure that you will have a very good research problem statement. Now we are going for the next phase of your research. Design of a model or technique or algorithm. So based on the technique which you selected, the research approach, you can propose a model, you can propose a technique, you can propose a algorithm. So what's the thing? So development of model, description about the architecture, description about the algorithm, all these things. I'll show you example, you can better understand. See this work here. I am proposing a one model. I'm just quoting the nomenclatures. So okay, this kind of this particular symbol indicates this one. This arrow mark indicates this one. Then I've made some terminologies. Based on that, I am developing one model, BA model, quantitative model, that is a domain independent model, any number of domain independent model, then quantitative model, qualitative model. In the quantitative model, I can have this kind of process, pre-processing, analytical processing, reporting processing. Similarly for qualitative, again, and in the quantitative, the quantitative model, the pre-processing, you may have any number of solutions, 1, 2, n, any number of solutions. Solution 1, solution 2, solution 3. Similarly for all the things. So just it's an example. Similar way you can propose a model, you can propose a architecture, you can design a model. See here, I developed a comprehensive model. So it is according to the research problem you have to select. So here I made a layer based model. These things are things. I'm going back to this one. So once you made the model or architecture or algorithm, also you must think about evaluation of proposed model or technique. You must evaluate it. So that is also very important. Okay. What's the result you obtained compared with the previous techniques, compared to other techniques? What your technique is better? Whatever person technique is efficient, superior one. So that is the very important thing. The next one is experimentation. So you identified the research area, conducted a successful literature survey, You define the problem, you proposed a model or some solution, some architecture. Now, the ultimate thing is that you must experiment it. I already told example. I can say that I want to bring Himalaya from to Kanyakumari. I need 1000 JCP. I need some crane support. If it is available, this is the weight. I can take from that one. I can keep in the Kanyakumari, some area. You can assume anything. But whether it is experimentally possible, it is feasible. So experimentation is very, very important. Whatever the thing you face, that should be experimented. So how to do the experimentation? Fine. The experimentation, 3 important tips are there, things are there. What's the technique tool you are going to apply it? If you see the figure, there are some technique tools the girls are using, the woman is using. Then here, see here, near to that one, you have the lot of tools are there. RapidMiner, Weka, SPSS, free Hadoop, lot of tools are there. Tools available. Next one is what? Data set. What are the data set you are going to use? Whether you are going to use a primary data set or secondary data set. So you have to primary data set you will be creating, you are developing, you are collecting. Secondary, it is already available. And once the data set is selected, and that one is experimentation. How to carry out this experimentation? So first one is techniques, second one is data set, third one is experimentation. I hope you able to understand these things. Now see here, in the area of data mining, there are some open source tools are available. RapidMiner, Weka, and you have R programming, you have Apache. So in the big data, you have Hadoop, Lumify, MongoDB, Talent. Then for if you take the IoT, you have Arduino, Home Assistant, Zeta, Device Hive, ThinkSpeak. You have a lot of open source tools are available. Then dataset repository is also available. I sold it. It's a secondary dataset. So what is the dataset repositories? That is, already people have collected data, they have used it for the experiment. This data is available for the research community to carry out the research. Okay. This collection of data set is called as data set repositories. Fine, we are going to discuss. Some popular data sets are available. The 4 universities data set. Okay, so they have collected web pages of computer science departments in various universities in the year of 1997. So totally they collected 8,282 pages. They are classified into 7 classes: student, faculty, staff, department, course, project, other. So that's how data set is available. You may apply it for some research purpose. Then internet advertisements data set. Just I am saying some examples. Nowadays, when you are opening any website or when you are using any mobile app, you are able to see different kind of advertisements. Even the YouTube, if you see any video, in middle you will be able to see the advertisement. Now, advertisements are very, very targeted, specific. Which age group people are watching, whether kids are watching, what kind of age people are watching, what their interest, based on the Google search, based on the your buying habit in different kind of websites, in different e-commerce websites like Flipkart, Amazon, Tata, Click. In these websites, based on your purchasing habit, your browsing history, advertisements are targeted. But here the data set is whether the people are After clicking the advertisement, they are going till the end or not. So that's the data set is available. So what are the way the data set for research experiments can be collected? If you see the diagram, there are 4 ways are available. Observation. Based on the observation, you may collect the data. The market trend you are observing. Then questionnaires. You may give the questionnaires to your friends. You may ask them to fill it, or you may give the questionnaires to the people which you targeted for their research work. Then you can collect the data. Or you may conduct the interview, from that you can collect the data. Or you may have a focus group sessions. From that also you can collect data. So these are the some of the ways you can collect the data set for the research experiments, market survey, all these things. Then I told data repository. So data repository is a comprehensive collection of various kinds of data. Researchers search, access and publish research data and metadata. So what's the advantage of these data repositories means? They will be maintaining the quality standards, technical standards, legal aspects, general information, all this information is available. So according to the research, you have to select this data repository or data set. Then popular data repositories, most of them people here, UCI, University of California, Irvine, there they are maintaining a data repository. Then Kiel data set, KedNets, Kaggle. Okay, these are the some of the popular data set repositories. Then the data which is available in the UCI, not only UCI, almost all the standard data repositories, data sets are benchmarked. But thing is that you must give the citations. Not only that one, you may also contribute data to the data repository. I have some experience on this one. I'll tell you. Now the most popular data sets, it's from since 2007. Heart disease related data set is available. This is I have taken from UCI. Iris data set is available. Wine data set is available. Bank marketing data set is available. Not only that one, other kind of data set, credit approval, diabetes, multiple features, phonage. So these kind of data sets are available. And if you want contribute the data set, that also possible. Here, myself and my students and with my guide, Sri Molecular Engineering College and Pondicherry University, both we worked a project and we developed the data set under the guidance of Dr. V. Prasanna Venkatesan. And we have contributed this data set to the UCI. They are verified and it is benchmarked. It is available in the UCI repository. We have shared the data set and approved the data set. The data set is approved by UCI in the month of February 2014. From the date, more than 75,000 researchers have visited. That is number of F kits, we got it. Actually, this data set is for a qualitative bankruptcy data set. So like this, if you want, you can share the contribute data set to the data repositories. In turn, it can be used by other researchers and it will be cited. The next thing is that result and discussion. So it's a very, very, very important thing. Result and discussion. You conduct the experiment, you obtain the results. Okay. The thing is that how to understand the results. So you may choose So write the section separately, or you can combine into a single chapter. And to display the results, you can use tables, graphs with the research implications. I'll show some examples. See here, some of the models I framed. See, this is the questionnaires we have developed for our project, industry risk, and we raised some questions. From that, we got the some score, and also score also we mentioned. Positive means what, negative, average means what, negative means what. This one. Expert analysis we conducted, evaluation of qualitative parameters. We listed some parameters. Industry risk is one qualitative parameter, and we designed questionnaires based on the literature. We collect the data. Then another one is management risk. For that one also we collected data. We raised the questions. We given the things. Then see here the technique, data set, experiment steps. Similar way we can use it for your research. So see here, this is the financial ratios data we collected from Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, CMI. So from the different banks and a different year, what's the value of these parameters we collected. So according to your project, you have to collect the data just for your exposure I'm saying. And also we conduct the expert analysis. Then from the different banks, from the different experts, what's the value we got it for this parameter that we listed here. Similarly, other kind of values. Now see the result and discussion. So this is one result. These are the some financial parameters, some of the muted parents. And see here, just I don't want to explain this result, but see here how to illustrate the result. See, I've given different kind of colors, and here yellow, and you say red color. So see, it gives the reader to better understand your results. Simply drawing a table is not enough. How we are intercepting the results, that is very, very important thing. Different colors, different kind of things, and graphs. You can do kind of this kind of coloring, the value. See here, these things are one color, this discarded things are another color, and you have to give the name for each label. So this is the way you can illustrate the results. So like this, different way you can illustrate. So see here the selected parameters in different colors, and performance of quality bank risk prediction. Just I'm saying just an example. So what way you can illustrate the results as a table, as a graph. So that's it. I'm going back. So result and discussion. I have shown some illustration for tables, graphs. So once you conducted the experimentation, you will be getting the result. You try to intercept the results and say, give the justification. Why such an improvement? Why these parameters, these things are discarded, or why you accepted? You give the explanation. So that is called as discussion. Based on the results, you are giving the discussion. Then next one is conclusion. So what's the conclusion? Simply you are going to give some, conclude something? No. You have to, maybe conclusion you may describe in this way. Summary of approach. What are the approach you applied here? What are the different findings you had it? Your key findings from the research. Then next one is future research. These are the three things which are required in the conclusion. Next, I told that references. So it is, you may follow any kind of format, but before that, I already told you have the reference managers. Try to use the reference managers. It is mandatory that whatever the source you referred, that should be cited, because otherwise it's a different kind of story. Plagiarism is there, there are things are there. Okay, so in the research, when you are doing all this work, okay, how you have to, you must have the habit of maintaining those sources, and finally quoting those sources is very important. Fine. So these are the different phases of the research. So in the each phase, what are things you have to follow? I told. Just I'll give you a quick conclusion, quick summary. So we started with the research area. In the computer science, I told the various kind of research areas. Some other research areas we just discussed: soft computing, evolutionary computing, swarm intelligence, big data analytics, blockchain, computer fraud, information security, information management. So many areas are available. You identify any one particular area based on your interest, or you may discuss with your supervisor. Next one is, once the area is identified, then you must go for literature. The literature survey, the two things I told, you have to identify the information papers from the standard journals. Next one is that you must evaluate it critically, creatively. That will give the lot of gaps, strength and weakness of the research work happen in your area. From that, you must have the primary findings, secondary findings. Then you must use the reference manager to record different sources you visited for your literature. Then the third step is problem definition. You have to define the problem clearly. For that one, you have to follow the steps of what are the background, what are things you visited, what thing is motivated, second, motivation. Then third one is, you have to establish the research questions. From that, you frame a research statement. Once you did this one, then you can go for research approach. What technique you are going to follow. That's the third phase. In the fourth phase, proposing of model, proposing of solution. Solution in terms of model, architecture, algorithm, or whatever the thing. Then once the solution is proposed, the next one is, you must experiment it. When you want to experiment it, I told, you must know what are the tools are available. What is the data set is required, whether primary data set is required, second data set is required. Then what are the steps you have to follow. So these are the three things. So for in each area, what are the open source tools are available, that we listed. Then also we discuss about data repositories, and if you want to collect data, how to generate data, that also we discussed. Then once you conduct the experiment, then you have to go for the results. Then how to illustrate the results in terms of table, in terms of graphs, and you have to justify, you have to intercept, that is called as a discussion. You have to discuss the results. Then finally, you have to conclude. In the conclusion, you must provide what are the approach you applied, what is the key findings you have it, and what is the future result. Once you did all this work, the final very important thing is this reference. What are the source you visited, what are the source you used, all should be referred. So with this one, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Stay home, safe home. Thank you very much.